Eric Davis, Super Bowl champion in his days, playing in the National Football League. 13 years joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Once again, Fat Mouthing Wednesday. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be here.
Now, we don't have a poll question yet. Do we have one?
We have one.
What do we have at the Chris Command Center? What do you got?
Who's most deserving to be on the naughty list? Richard Sherman, DeMarcus Cousins.
I like what you did there, Brockman, with the twist.
Thank you very much.
Because you used the word jerk.
Yeah,
during
Well, they are.
TV
They are
during the
jerks.
commercial.
You went naughty or nice. I mean, that
naughty.
But in the naughtiness.
This time,
The naughty
time
ones.
of year.
Okay. When you really need to be there, you really need an Interstate. The car battery auto techs prefer. Let one of these techs test your battery today. Find a location near you at interstatebatteries.com. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. They're bringing you the poll question here today. Richard Sherman went at a reporter yesterday, or went back and forth with a reporter yesterday, threatened to have his career ruined, something that he said later on Twitter he regretted. And then DeMarcus Cousins picks up his second technical but has it rescinded. So he comes back from the locker room to complete a three-point play and part of a 55-point night. And then did you see his post-game chat?
I saw some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Myers-Leonard.
Myers-Leonard.
Okay, who was on the bench. And I guess the two of them have history from preseason exhibition basketball.
Yeah, history dates back, Rich, all the way back to 2015, a preseason game.
Okay.
A shoving match.
Hold on a minute.
Things get heated in the preseason.
Don't you remember that vaunted, famously heated preseason of 2015, 2016 NBA season? Everyone was on edge.
I had to think about it for a second, but it came back to me.
So they got at it back in the day.
Another issue just this past December, or earlier this December, I should say.
All right, so here was the
Myers wasn't happy.
The intrepid reporter, I believe, of the local stations there up there in I guess like CSN Bay Area or Sacramento. Check it out. This is Cousins afterwards with Myers-Leonard too.
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
But did it come out of your mouth accidentally? Is that what happened?
Yes, man. This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
You know, I saw some comment from him about the world needs to see this is ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. He did it to himself. And that's the truth. And people need to know that. He deserved to be out of the game for what he did. His antics are over the top. He's disrespectful. Out of line. I mean, the list of words could go on. I can't respect someone like that.
So I have a couple of questions. We have an athlete here to my right, former athlete. Does a mouthpiece just happen to slip out?
It's a hard thing for it to do. I
and
mean,
go
they
directly towards somebody with whom you have
I was never a mouthpiece guy, so
issue.
I can't. You know, I'm not an expert on it because I didn't play with a mouthpiece. So
you wouldn't be allowed to do that anymore.
I didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it a breathing thing?
No. I mean, you don't have to play with. No one has to play with a mouthpiece. That's a choice.
Just in college now. Ohio State got charged a timeout in the Michigan-Ohio State game for it.
But the rules in college, the rules in college, they're there for. They make you do certain things, but they don't really check. They'll tell you have to do things, but they don't really check. And in the NFL, they don't care. So you're an adult. You are a professional. You can do.
So then, as a professional athlete, did that mouthpiece look like it was spat in a direction?
I cannot say if that was accidental or not. There's no way that I can determine that. What I did see though is just when something accidentally happens, the normal reaction would be to reach for it because you weren't expecting it to come out. He just walked away. So that's the part of it.
Good observation.
So I'm saying that's the part. There was no immediate reaction like, "Oops, this is slipping." There was no "oops" moment, And I would think that if it was accidental, there would be that "oops" moment. That's the only part that.
How about the officials turning around and saying, "Bring him back out from the locker room"?
Well, you should. If you make a mistake, if you're saying if you're going to make the ruling and you're going to say that you made a mistake, I like the fact that officials do that. I wish they would pick up some flags in football games.
Sure.
Where they would look at it and just say, like, God, because there are times where the replay shows that, okay, you missed the call.
Now,
pick up the flag.
Folks are accusing me of playing the disrespect card on Myers-Leonard. I'm not a hoops fantasy guy in the same way that I'm baseball.
Makes sense.
And
I don't know all the
football,
basketball guys
right?
either. Like my son does. He knows everyone on every team. I'm not that way.
Does he know Myers-Leonard?
Probably.
Okay. Do you know Myers?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Would you like some Myers Leonard trivia?
Please, I'd love to know because he strikes me as having a very good head on his shoulders.
Myers Leonard went to college
Seems
at
like.
Illinois, played 2 years. He is in his 5th NBA season. Recently signed a 4-year, $41 million contract in the offseason.
Damn straight he did. He's Myers Leonard.
Yeah,
He
good for
missed
him.
I love
most
this
of
guy.
last season with a shoulder injury. Suffered
that's why I
suffered
didn't-
against the Dallas Mavericks.
How many teams has he been on?
No excuse for the previous 2 seasons, though, of not knowing.
How many
Just
teams?
one.
Just one?
Only played for Portland. You guys are going to be surprised by this. Wall had hinted at it.
What?
He was the.
Hold on, don't say it. What do you think the gap was between where
See, he
Boogie
always wants to
Cousins
go
was
game show.
drafted?
We don't always have to play a game show.
And
Can I just tell it? He was the 11th pick of the 2012 NBA draft.
Boogie Cousins was the 5th pick of the 2010.
Jeez.
Wow.
His brother is a U.S. Marine who served in Afghanistan.
Okay. So the Leonard family is.
And
There
he's
is
been on
a,
Portland's
according to
team.
an ESPN article
Wow,
written by
I-
Dana O'Neill,
Good
there is
for
a
him.
blindside situation going on with Myers Leonard.
So I'm going to raise my hand like Del Tufo and just say, my bad. I'll take the foul here.
No, that's
Yeah, I'm
mine.
with you.
can't
It's hard to
take that.
defend
Should've known
DeMarcus
him.
Cousins, though, when he was already suspended fined $25,000 for taking his mouthpiece out and throwing it into the crowd after receiving his 6th foul.
And it was his second technical on the night.
Yeah.
So what do you make of Richard Sherman, though, Eric? Week 16 type of stuff? I mean, they're
You know what,
9-4-1 here.
Sherm obviously is frustrated with some things. Number one, he's on the sideline with the coaches. That right there shows a certain amount of frustration. As far as what's going on between he and the reporter, I don't know. I'm always one. You know how I am. I'm always one to say I don't know what's happening on the other side and what's personal. Because that was obviously personal.
Well, he said he'd let it get personal, is what he said, and I regret that, is how he tweeted out afterwards, threatening to take the man's career away. I mean,
Because I think, in hindsight, that's one of those things you lash out. In hindsight, he realizes that that's just a dumb thing to say. That's a dumb thing right there to put out there, because there's no way that there's no way you can be the good guy when saying something like that. Now, this is one thing I do know, and the part that you have to take into account in this. When you are there every day with those beat reporters, it can get personal, because their personality, every personality is not going to mesh. And there were guys that I was around all the time. They're in the locker room every single day. And there are some that are trying to just poke the bear. I don't know if this is one of those cases to where it just got to a point to where he's saying something, but he's saying it in front of the podium as opposed to saying it to this guy one-on-one. And so if you make that comment on the podium and then it turns into that, and then you say what you said outside of it, it really gets ugly.
let's take a break. I want to continue on this theme here and take some phone calls. The Honda Insider segment is next with Eric Davis in just a minute's time. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. One of the best phone calls of the day. We'll get a Robert De Niro autographed copy of the DVD of Hands of Stone, and then an autographed boxing glove set from Robert
Nice.
De Niro. That's what we're giving away. It's the holiday time of year here on
Nice.
the Rich Eisen Show. Back in a minute. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. The Honda Insider Report is brought to you by the 2017 Honda Accord with an available 278 horsepower V6 and a spacious interior. It really is the perfect car to get a deal on this season at the Happy Honda Days sales event
Honda Days. I see what
going
you're doing
on
there.
right now. Eric Davis, our insider here on the Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take a couple of calls with you in a moment. But did you ever want to go up to did you ever go up to an offensive coach and say, hey, why are you calling that play? You ever do that in your career?
No, I
13
never
years?
did that. Did I ever want to? Yes.
You did.
But my offensive coordinators were always up in the box, so I never had an opportunity to walk.
So you're
up.
saying it was a spatial situation?
Yes.
It was
Yes, there
a
were several
geographically
games-
unsound?
Yes. It was just logistics. There were several seasons and games in which I would have walked up to them and said, "What are you doing?"
Well, the question
You're killing us.
The question for Sherman, and I think that it would be, how would you like it if Russell Wilson went up to your defensive coaches and said, "What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why are we letting my compadre on the other side of the ball stand there and pick us apart in our scheme that everybody knows because we only play one style of defense. What about that?
How would he take that? He would be bothered by it, but I also have a feeling that they would all look at it and say, look, they're calling us out. Let's play better. I really do. I believe that. I just think that's the difference, and maybe this is because I'm a defensive player or was a defensive player. People will say that, but there's a different mentality from the offensive side of the ball to the defensive side of the ball. You know that. It's a different mentality.
I know that.
And I don't think it would have been taken, it wouldn't have been taken as a slight. It would have been taken as a call to action. Like, look, guys, they're saying we're killing them. We got to do something. We have to help.
And how about this? I mean, when it happened at Super Bowl 49, we all talked about what Carroll did, what he didn't do, and what Belichick would have been roasted for had that not happened, et cetera, et cetera. And we were all saying, well, boy, the Seahawks, it's going to take a long time to get over this. Mm-hmm. This is confirmation they still haven't gotten over it. Correct? That be a safe assumption?
Yes, but they're never going to get over that.
Week 15.
We talked about that.
Week 15 versus the Rams?
You're never going
this is happening?
You're never going to get over losing that game in that fashion. You're never going to get over losing that game, but definitely in that fashion because you feel as though you did everything to win it.
But we would think that would come in the form of maybe behind the wheel of the car when you're driving to the facility, thinking about it.
It's gonna
not
hit you.
like in real time during a game. Like here we are in a short yardage situation again, and we're going to throw it that.
But
against the Rams,
are they going to get over it? No. But do I think that it is going to be? Are they going to live it? Is it going to be a daily play-by-play thing? No. There will be circumstances like that. There will be short yardage circumstances in games leading, from now on, as long as there are members on this team that were a part of that team. I don't think it's that intensive to where it goes back to that moment. I just think this is a group of guys that, like Earl Thomas was saying before, the pressure that's on him to perform. All of these guys have a lot of pressure on them to perform. They've put that on themselves. They like living under that. But pressure will burst a pipe. And, it's going to show. These guys are expected, outwardly and internally to win a championship. Every year they're going out not to have a good season, not to make the playoffs, not to win the division. They're expecting to win the championship, and it's going to boil over sometimes.
Eric Davis, my Honda insider here on the Rich Eisen Show. Steelers have won 5 in a row. What happened here? I mean, how does this team turn it around? Is it on defense?
Yes, the defense started playing better. They started making plays on the back end of their defense. That had been an issue. Mitchell's playing better, tackling when he needs to, getting balls out of the air. Guys are lining up where they're supposed to. They're doing the basics. They can score offensively. They're getting healthier on that side of the ball. You have to contend. The offensive line is playing well. You got to contend with Le'Veon. You got to worry about AB. Ben can still extend plays, and there's a belief that they are going to get in the end zone on that side. And on the other side of the ball, they're getting off the field. They're making plays, so they're still in it. I thought they would be. We've been having this discussion all year.
I know we have. So I'm assuming you think they wrap it up Sunday?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So then when they do that, in that regard for you, that means I'm looking at Miami coming in week 1 maybe. I don't see Miami catching Kansas City. No. So it looks like it could be Miami. If somehow Baltimore wins out, they might come back again for a third go round.
Wouldn't that be great? If it gets back to that where those guys are going 3 times a year.
So you're talking about the Steelers going on the road to the black hole and winning a football game right now, playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be a tough place for them. But, yeah.
Do you think they can?
I think they can.
What about Gillette?
Definitely.
What about Gillette?
That would be an interesting one. That is
because that's what it's all about. I mean, let's brass tacks it here.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a tough one. But I've said all along that's the team that I think can go in there and beat them.
Not the Raiders.
No, I don't think the Raiders can go into Gillette and beat them.
Why?
I don't.
Why?
I don't think their defense is stout enough to do that. I don't think their defense plays at that level.
You don't think Mac could be the Von Miller type disruptor that knocked Tom Brady out of the playoffs last year?
Mac could, but I don't know if the back end. I don't know if their secondary can stop these guys with all the deep balls that they're going to have to contend with. That's the part of that I would be worried about because you have to stop Le'Veon Bell, which means you have to single up those guys outside. And I think AB would have a field day.
Brian in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you're on with Eric Davis in the Honda Insider segment. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Rich. How you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
All right. So if Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, if they end up winning out like Rodgers kind of predicted and called out, do you think that Rodgers should be in the MVP discussion? And if they do make up the playoffs, do you think they have a chance to make a run?
Eric, what do you think?
Well, he's always going to be in the discussion because number one, he's a quarterback, and he's Aaron Rodgers, and because he's been in the discussion before. I think there's some guys that are ahead of him this year, definitely. So as far as winning in the discussion, he'll be in it. But as far as winning it, I don't think so. And as far as making a run, that's another one of those things.
Well, let's
I don't
play
think they
this
have the
role.
defense.
Let's do the same. Thanks again, Brian. Let's do the same thing that we just did with the Steelers. So Green Bay, let's just say they do win out. That means they would be. Let's give them a 4 seed. That means it would be Tampa maybe coming to town. Giants coming to town. It would be Giants.
It would be the Giants.
Giants going to Green Bay.
When the Giants win that game.
Gosh, you think that?
Yeah, the Giants win that game.
Oh.
The Giants win that game. They'll be able to handle the cold weather. They'll, the way their team is playing now, the way their defense is playing. I think they'll be able to match up and do what gives Green Bay trouble is when you just put a body on a body, and you push them around and you mess up their timing. And the way that defense is coming together, they'll be able to do it. We had that discussion too about the Giants defense coming together.
As if we don't have enough conversations, Christopher Brockman, about shades of 2007 and 2011.
Yeah, I don't want to think about those years.
A Giants playoff victory in the chill of Lambeau Field would be another one of those bellwether symbols.
Yes.
You remember that NFC Championship game where I do believe Tom Coughlin's face broke.
He's still frozen.
It cracked, yes. Yes, he was very red.
You think the Giants can make a run? I'm beginning to believe, too. I'm thinking tomorrow night could be an issue, though. Short week. They should win that game.
Can they make a playoff run only scoring 10 points a game?
Good question.
Can they make one?
We haven't seen Odell on a playoff stage, by the way.
No, we haven't.
That's what a wild card that is.
Yeah, because he hasn't been there, so you don't know what he's going to be capable of doing. And I also think they will put up more than 10 points that time of year. I think so. And also remember that their defense is playing at a level to where they'll give the ball back to them. They'll get turnovers. They will get the short field. They will get the easy scores. I think they'll be more than a 10-point. They'll be a 3-score team in the playoffs. I think they're going to give some people. We've been talking about it. I thought they would. That's the one that I thought could be the wild card. It was the Giants because I thought that defense could come together. It's a very talented unit, but they hadn't played together. And every game they seem to get more and more in step, and they're going to be a tough out.
Is this team better than the 2011 team, though? That 2011 team was last in the league in rushing, as people were pointing out to me on Twitter. But this running game is also just as bad, but is the team as good as 2011?
And Sean O'Hara was on yesterday. I thought he made an excellent point saying that the defensive line was what was the heartbeat of the defense in 07 and 11.
Yeah.
And now it's the back end of the defense that's the heartbeat of that defense that allows the extra beat necessary for the scheme to rush the quarterback.
And you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. A team goes as far as the secondary takes it. Because this league is
You're
all
biased.
about
You're
biased.
biased.
Nope.
Come
you think
on, man.
The league is about.
Who says those things?
The league is about running the ball. Listen, the league is about running the ball and stopping the run. But what happens when you do those things? This is what we were just talking about, going into the black hole and Antonio Brown and how you stop him. Because once you decide you're going to stop Le'Veon Bell, how do you stop baby? You got to be able to get the ball out of the air. And if you don't have guys in your secondary that can get the ball out of the air, that can turn it over, that can get you off the field on third down and get it back to your offense, you're going to lose football games in the playoffs.
32 games left. I'm so excited. Fun fat mouthing with you as always. Merry Christmas to you and your family, Eric.
Thank you.
You bet.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.